Our talk of today, our president, Mr. Ad van Velde, will give you a short introduction about global dairy farmers in case you don't know us yet. And there he already is. Hi, Ad. And then we continue with the plenary session done by Tim Brewer, continued with the live discussion, and then the closure. We have some final comments. So Ad, the floor is yours. Tell us a little bit about global dairy farmers.
Thank you, Yvonne. From my side too, a warm welcome to every participant of this global dairy farmers webinar about Maximize your homegrown forage. It's fantastic that we have so many dairy farmers as participants this time, quite a lot of new ones as well. It turns out that practical topics about management on dairy farms are always interesting and popular. My name is Ad van Velde, dairy farmer in the Netherlands, and since 2017, president of Global Dairy Farmers. Roughage, forage, has become more and more important on dairy farmers worldwide. Prices of purchased feed are rising enormously. It seems that this is going to be the case in the long term. If you see that China is purchasing grain, maize, soy, and many other things everywhere in the world, and prices are rising crazily. Proper storage of forage is crucial. Covering grass silage or maize silage or other products is just a small part of the whole ensiling process, but it's very important. In fact, I thought there were no developments and innovations in plastics or films. Silostop has been around for years, but for example, it's hardly known in our country, the Netherlands. And the last few months, I've studied Silostop and their products. It's a different product that was then, if you compare it, what is general for sale in the Netherlands. On our farm, we have 5 bunker silos, 2 for maize, 3 for grass. And we are going to use Silostop in 1 silo as a kind of a trial. I'm very curious about our experiences. A couple of months ago, I visited a dairy farm in Belgium that has been using Silostop for several years already. And I was very enthusiastic what I see there. Once again, our experiences will be leading in the decision we will make in the future. And I will keep you informed. About this webinar, we are proud to have Silostop as a new GDF business partner. Tim Brewer is European Sales Director at Silostop. I think Tim's presentation is maybe a little commercial. It's hard to avoid in this case. We have many dairy farmers as participants now, and so maybe some of you have experience with Silostop, and that would be great for the discussion. Tim, floor is yours.
Thank you, Ad. Just get my video started. Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for allowing us to give a presentation this evening. Fabulous introduction there by Ad, taking half of my presentation, but I think very keen to be working with Ad on his own farm, and hopefully we can share that experience with you all over the next winter. It's great as well. We've had so many people joining from around the world. You'll see in the presentation, we currently sell into about 47 countries. So hopefully some of you may have seen the product, but there seems to be a great platform for us to engage with the global dairy farming community, which we're really keen to do. So I will now kickstart the presentation. We have a number of questions on the way through, and I'm really looking forward to the Q&A at the end. So please feel free to line up the questions for us. Sorry, there we are. Okay, our main aim is to maximize homegrown forage. As Ad gave a really good introduction, the cost of bought-in feeds has just escalated over the last number of years. And I've been in the supply trade for 25 years, and homegrown forage is becoming ever increasingly important. As on most farms, homegrown forage is the key driver in maximizing the output of the unit and also controlling the costs of these purchased feeds. A healthy cow relies on good forage. The cost of production and subsequently the margin you achieve can be dramatically affected by the quality and quantity of the forage you have available. If you have a limited amount, purchase fees are required to fill the void that it leaves. A homegrown forage is one of the cheapest inputs on the farm compared to these other. There's a strong correlation between milk from forage and profitability of milk production. Studies consistently show that for every 1,000 litres of increased milk from forage will be worth around €100 of gross margin per cow. So to finish this slide, put simply, the more forage fed per cow per day, the more margin can be retained per litre of milk produced. So what can Silostop do to help? Silostop cannot help your silage making process until it gets to step 6 of this ensiling plan. These 7 steps are used to guide your process to ensure what you grow is the best possible condition as it enters the bunker. A lot of thought to plan properly what you will grow, when you will grow it, when you harvest it, how you harvest it is required. So when it goes into the bunker, this is the top quality it can be. So this is where we have our first question.
So the first question is, if you follow an ensiling process plan, please raise your hand.
So these 7 steps that we've just alluded to there, are fairly common that we see across Europe, and I imagine the rest of the world. So it'll be interesting to see who does follow what. I can't quite see. Have we got many hands raised?
Only 3.
3, okay. So some of the key points for good ensiling. The crop is finally in the clamp. Now all the important bit, sealing it in to preserve as much of the dry matter and nutrients as possible, and then it's ready to be fed out over the winter. It follows some simple guidelines will ensure it's sealed in effectively. If you achieve a target density of 700 kilograms of the crop per meter cubed in the top 1 meter of the bunker, they shape the top of the surface in a convex manner so the water drains off the sides. Apply your covers immediately after the filling is complete. We do see so many problems when the crop is left overnight because you finished late into the evening, everybody's tired. We fully understand that, but that just allows the oxygen to penetrate the top layer and cause all sorts of issues. Now, if you haven't got sheets to cover the bunker, overlap them by a minimum of 1 meter and arrange the overlapping sheets so the water runs off and not down into the crop underneath. In this presentation, we will cover these 3 topics to show how by using an oxygen barrier film, you not only reduce your overall plastic usage, but you end up with more forage to feed, which is nutritionally better for the cattle. And reducing dry matter losses, eliminating waste on the top and side of the bunker, and improving the nutritional value. On most farms, I've said that a bit, sorry, I'm just catching up with myself. There we are. Silostop created the oxygen barrier film and has continued to innovate in the field with a wide range of products and systems to help farmers make better silage around the world based on experience, research, and innovation. We believe in making silage in a sustainable way to reduce the impact on the environment, providing the assurance to users that they will produce the ultimate silage possible. We're recognized globally as the leading brand of oxygen barrier silage film, and Silostop Orange is used on some of the largest dairy and beef farms across the globe. Grass, maize, whole crop, sugar beet, and many other crops benefit from being sold with our technology. From the heat of the sub-Saharan to the cold of Iceland, we cover many countries and climates. Some of these images were taken last year, Iceland at the top, Russia on the left-hand side, America, Australia, and Europe. So we often get asked, is it new? We've been selling the product for over 10 years now. Huge amount of trial work backs it up worldwide. And we do continue, as I said, to improve and refine the offering we have, which is vital that we have the good feedback from farmers like yourselves. Our mission is to help you make great silage while minimizing waste and reducing plastic. And we do this through innovation, which will help us keep at the forefront of this sector as we continue to improve the current range. Sustainability. As the agricultural sector follows the rest of the world in its quest to use less plastic, we believe our systems can have a huge impact as well as the continued success of improving the silage we cover. Expertise. We continue to trial products all over the globe. In Russia, Australia, and Latin America, we have farms currently trialing new products and systems, and we have teams on the ground to help support our dealer network and visit farms on a daily basis. The most critical factor in maintaining high quality silage and minimizing dry matter loss is the control of oxygen exposure. Poor oxygen protection of silage results in dry matter loss, shrinkage, lower sugar and starch levels, increased pH, mold, and mycotoxin growth. This can be visible and invisible losses. And this is one of our favorite images here taken on a farm in Africa. And you'll see just the same crop in a bunker in the field. The right-hand side was covered with oxygen barrier and the left with the standard black polythene. And you can visibly see the shrinkage on the left-hand side where the oxygen penetrated the top of the bunker and used up the dry matter. So why is this so important? Reduction in waste, that's the key. Good silage takes a lot of time, effort, and money. It is essential to ensile the crop with the best possible products to ensure the full nutritional value remains in the bunker and gets fed to your cows. A common problem seen with silage all over the world is spoilage and dry matter losses in the top and side of your bunker. Wasted silage and low feed value and toxic to livestock are what we want to avoid. Once the freshly cut grass has been used up any oxygen in the top layer through rapid respiration, the pH will rapidly drop and fermentation will start because no more oxygen is entering the stack. Conventional black polyethylene films will normally lose 20% of the dry matter in this top 1 meter layer by continued respiration. And oxygen barrier silos use half of this amount, and this dry matter contains the valuable nutrients to feed to your animals. We want to avoid waste, dry matter losses, and have more feed. That's the ultimate aim. So now we have another question.
So those of you who have used oxygen barrier films before, please raise your hands.
Okay, have we got many goers on this one?
Let me see, 5.
Okay, that's good. So if we get some feedback on that in the questions at the end. So oxygen barrier films were developed from the food packaging industry, using the same technology for preserving the shelf life of food to preserving nutrients and reducing losses in silage. The cost of growing, harvesting, transporting, and ensiling a crop to make good silage is exactly the same if you make bad silage. The difference is following the basic rules of ensiling and using the correct materials to preserve the crop. The extra cost is just a fraction of the entire operation and results in more tons of higher quality feed with no health risks associated with poor forage. Conventional silage covers are made from polyethylene, which, although strong, durable, and waterproof, are porous to gases, including oxygen. This is measured with an oxygen transmission rate. It's measured in cubic centimeters of oxygen that pass through the square meter of plastic in a 24-hour period. So how does it work? A standard 125 micron black polyethylene sheet will allow up to 300 centimeters of air to pass through over a 24-hour period. Now, the thin 40 micron underlayer, which has become very recent in the last 10 years, will allow up to 1,000 centimeters of air to pass through. Now, this oxygen delays pH drop and subsequent fermentation in the top layer of the stack. This leads to reduced preserving acid production, dry matter losses, and creates an ideal environment for the development of molds and yeast. To combat this, farmers have sometimes tried to use multiple layers of black polyethylene film or thicker and thicker film to try to stop the air entering the stack. This results in a large amount of plastic to dispose of or recycle. Now, the original Silostop orange film is just 45 microns, and this tests out at under 5 centimeters of air over a 24-hour period. This is just a fraction of the standard black film. So how does it keep the oxygen out? The key is encased in the 9 separate layers of the film is a layer of ethylene vinyl alcohol, which is crucially resistant to the passage of oxygen. The strength and flexibility comes from the surrounding layers of plastic, which results in a very thin 45 micron film, which will cling to the surface of the forage to create the oxygen barrier. The fact that the crop is covered by this cling film eliminates pockets of air, which ensure the fermentation process can start and reduces the waste found on the top. So we have just stuck in the middle, this layer is called EVOH, which eliminates the air flow through the sheet. Over the years, we've done many trials, and from 41 trials in bunkers and drive-over piles, the results show that by using an oxygen barrier, you can significantly reduce your dry matter losses in the top of the pile. You will save up to 50% more in the top 1 meter. And the trials show that losses of up to 30% through dry matter and spoilage with standard polyethylene sheets compared to a 15% with an oxygen barrier film. Now, a return on investment. Apologies, there's a lot of information on this slide, but I'll just give an overview on how it works out. So we've taken the value of a ton of silage at 33 pounds. A standard bunker is 20 meters by 50 meters. Just focusing on the top 1 meter layer, there's 600 tons of forage. This is worth around £20,000. With a standard black polyethylene sheet, you'll lose around 20% through shrinkage and the additional 10% through molds and waste. So 30% in that top 1 meter. With an oxygen barrier, you lose around 11% through dry matter shrinkage and 3% to waste, so 15% in total. Well, converting that back into tons means you lose up to 180 tons with a standard system, yet only 86 tons with an oxygen barrier. And if you convert this into money, there's 6,000 ton of losses, 6,000 pounds of losses, sorry, compared to 3,000 with an oxygen barrier film. So using an oxygen barrier will give you an additional 95 tons of feed in that one bunker that would have previously been lost. So the cost of applying an oxygen barrier sheet, which does seem expensive, will give you a return on investment of over 6 to 1. So every €1 you spend on an oxygen barrier film, you'll have €6 of forage left to feed. Nutritional improvement. So this is some work we've just had back from trials in Brazil, which we also looking to work on over this coming winter. But generally, samples taken from the bottom of the middle of the bunker will analyze the best over the whole bunker, as they have the most weight on the top and have very little exposure to air, as is buried by the crop above. The trials have shown that crops sampled near the top under an oxygen barrier film will analyze far better than those analyzed under conventional film, and the results from the top were very similar to those at the bottom. This nutritional increase can have a big benefit for the ration and milk yield over the winter period. I'm just going to touch on some of the systems that we have used and we recommend. This is our classic system: Silostop orange film and an anti-UV cover. It's perfect for maize or single crop grass. This thin and flexible film will follow the contour of the crop, ensuring all oxygen is eliminated. Even though it's thin, it's very strong, and it will allow you to walk over the clamp while you pull over the covers. As there's only a 45 micron film, it will need protecting, so we would recommend using one of our anti-UV covers. Now, these have a 10-year life, so all you need to replace every year is the thin 45 micron sheet. Using this system, you will use 70% less plastic covering a bunker compared to a standard polyethylene system. A Silostop Max with a net. This is the ideal combination for multi-cut systems, as you can pull it on and off the clamp without any fear of tearing. It's an 80 micron film and it's very strong and robust. It reduces labor, as you haven't got to put a cling film underneath and the big black sheet on the top. It is a full UV protection built into it, so all you need to do is cover it with a net to keep off the pests and rodents, etc. And using this system, you'll use 50% less plastic, again, compared to a standard black plastic system. On all bunkers, we would recommend using an oxygen barrier wall film. Now, if the walls are new concrete, very little cracks, very little ingress of air, you can probably get away with a black plastic sheet. We've all seen many bunkers with cracked walls, and because you can't compact the crop at the edge of the bunker as well as in the middle, there's often up to 1 meter of waste on the edges. Again, when the covers are on, we would recommend using a gravel bag to weigh them down. There's no risk of wire coming out from tires, no dirty water, no rats. You get the long bags that really follow the crop well and helps seal it in. And that is me.
And I think there was one more question, right?
There was, which I think I skipped by. Apologies.
Well, that's okay. We can still ask, I think.
Yeah, well, the question was, we quite keen to understand. Obviously, you could hear from it. We speak to many farmers, and we spoke to Ad when we first met, and his process was to use lots of thicker layers rather than thinner layers. So has that, I want to see hands up if that's always been the approach, use thicker, more sheets or thinner.
Yeah, so your question is, who do you think thicker film is better than thinner one?
Yeah.
So raise your hand. Well, I guess because you're promoting thinner.
Well, we just want to see what everyone's observations are, because traditionally it's always been the thicker the better, the more durable, keeps the air out. But you know, with the 40 micron cling films coming through over recent years, that has changed people's mindsets.
I think there were up to 5 who raised their hand.
Okay, excellent.
So I think, let me check the Q&A for the questions. And I'll turn on my camera. Let me see, there was a question from Bangladesh. When we use silage for our dairy animal, how much feed cost may be reduced? That's quite a specific question.
It is not one quite so easy to answer. I think what we can say is that by using a good system, a good option barrier, you will have a lot more of the forage you ensile to feed out, but you know, the actual percentage is varies on how many cows you have and what your ration is. So yeah, not an easy one to give a straight answer, I'm afraid.
No, thank you. Although the sheet you showed with all the return on investments is quite well detailed and gives a good impression.
It is, and one thing we frequently on the webinars we've done, we do get asked to share that. So I will, Yvonne, I'll send it to you, and you can have it as a standard calculator, so you can put in the dimensions of your own bunkers or clamps and the feed values, because we know they vary country to country. So you can enter whether it be €20 or $30 or whatever your currency is, and it will work out your value. So I'll share that with everybody.
Wonderful.
Happy to.
Wonderful, thank you. And I see a question from Hank. If the pile is covered well, airtight, with Silostop and a layer of plastic, would you see any value in tires on the pile?
I think weight on the pile, definitely. Now, we are trying to steer people away from tires, and we know certain countries across the world have banned tires for that use, just because of the problems it brings with potential wire into the forage, dirty water, rats. But I think the key on every bunker and pile is to get as much weight on those covers and sheets as possible. Now, when we do visit farms with the odd problem, 9 times out of 10, that is the issue, that they've done a great job, they've covered it well, but there's not enough weight to keep that film securely touching the crop. And over the winter period, you know, if you get wind in or some holes in it and it blows up, it allows the oxygen to come in underneath the sheet, and then that's where the molds and problems occur. So, you know, if you've only got tires, absolutely, but the key is keeping as much weight as you can on that bunker.
And sorry if I missed it, but what would you recommend?
Gravel bags, which would be, yeah, which was on the last slide, so like a 1.2 meter long sausage full of gravel. And because they're flexible, you know, they follow the contours of the crop underneath and give a really good seal, and they can just be stacked away for the summer months and used again year after year.
Thank you. Questions keep coming in. That's perfect.
Right.
Question from Jan. I'm using 200 ml plastic plus 40 ml. Have no spoilage or heating on top. Can I get guaranteed to get the same results with Silostop?
I think a lot of farms, and before I came to Silostop, I was a great believer in the 40 ml cling film. We brought it to the market when the company I was with, and it's done a fantastic job of reducing the spoilage and waste on the top of the bunker. Because it will cling to the surface, it eliminates those air pockets, and there's some really good looking clamps and bunkers around by using that. But what it doesn't do, it doesn't stop the oxygen ingressing into that top 1 meter. So you won't have the waste, but you do have the dry matter losses, and then the reduction in sugars and starch and digestibility. So your bunker will shrink. You have a clean service, but you'll have less forage available afterwards. So I think by using an oxygen barrier, you have both elements. You have a nice clean top of the bunker, and you preserve that dry matter in the top.
Thank you, Jan. I hope that answers your question. We have another question from Ali. In Pakistan, we used to install bunkers with heavy plastic sheet. How do you compare these plastic sheets with Silostop film?
I think, again, a similar story. We've compared, I think you can get a similar story if you put lots and lots and lots of thick plastic polyethylene sheets on the top. You will limit the oxygen ingress into that clamp. But the issue there is you have a huge amount of plastic you have then to dispose of or recycle. I think part of our story is try to, as the world looks to be more sustainable, we know we can do a really good job with just a thin 45 micron sheet with a reusable cover. And what you're talking about there is probably 5 times the amount of plastic to do the same job. So yeah, we agree, you can do a good job with lots and lots of plastic, but it's that environmental and sustainability story that we really need to focus on in those situations.
Thank you, Tim. Very clear answer. I saw a very practical question. Is it available? Is Silostop available in Pakistan?
It is. We do have a customer there, and I think Ad knows them actually. We are looking for a new distributor actually in Pakistan, but we can ship. We do have a warehouse in Singapore, which we do deliver product around Asia from. So yeah, so we even if we haven't got a distributor in your country, we can still supply.
Great, thank you. I think that's the answer they wanted to hear.
Yeah, and we are keen to work with, there are lots of countries where we have interest. What we really need is a distributor to work with to get the product there, and then we could start working with the farming community to share the story really and engage with them. So
thank you. And I think it's nice now to maybe go to the live discussion part. But before we do, I saw there was another question also more on the webinar format. As I mentioned in the beginning, the webinar is recorded and you can watch it on demand at a later stage, so whenever you want. Yeah, so when the people signed up, you could tick whether you wanted to be in the live discussion, but just to make sure that the people actually really want to go live and turn on the camera and turn on the microphone, please raise your hand who wants to ask Tim a question live. So turning on your camera and turning on your microphone. So don't go away, just raise your hand. Jan, yes. So Jan, what I will do is I will promote you to panelist. Our good friend Martijn also wanted to go live. So Martijn, well, Ad, maybe you can kick off after your sip of tea by asking a question to Tim.
No, I'm curious about the 5 farmers in our group who have experience with oxygen barrier.
Me too. I'd really be interested to find their experience. Yeah.
I think Martijn was one of them.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Martin.
I live in Denmark. I have with my wife a dairy farm in the south of Denmark. Yeah, we use a lot of time to make grass silo and corn silo, and it is very important to close the silos. We use top seal. Do you know that product? Yeah, there's also
no.
There's also, yeah, I was looking, but I could not find so quick all the details. But there's also a thin layer of plastic.
Okay.
We lay first on, and after we put the black plastic on.
Yeah.
And then we put the nets on.
Yes.
Yeah. We live in Denmark. It's always windy. So, yeah, we need the nets also to keep. Yeah, when we close the silo, it's easy. When we put the nets on, then the plastic is not blowing away.
Yeah, sure.
But we can see a big difference when we use top seal or not top seal. It's almost the same as your product, but a little bit cheaper. It's maybe it's not so good as your product. I don't know.
Well, I don't know about that. No, I think.
But it is a thin white plastic where you can look through.
Yes.
But you can see when it stops, that you get an other kind of color in your sign.
Yeah.
It have the same effect.
I think it's the same what Jan is using.
Okay. Yeah, in Holland they use it. Yeah. Also.
Yeah, but Jan is from Germany.
Okay. Yeah. But now I have also a question more. I have two questions. I'm not sure if I understand it good when you talk about top seal. You put only the orange one on your silo and then you put a net on.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Because yeah, the people with us know it. There's a lot of money under the plastic. We want the top seal, and we put also the black plastic on.
Yeah.
We buy also little expensive black plastic. It's a little bit flexible. Because when we are with 10 people closing the silo, I want to be sure that there come not holes in.
Yeah.
When you have the cheap plastic, that is what my experience is, then there come too quick a hole in. And then you have also a lot of waste when you find out when you take the feed out.
Yeah.
So that is exciting.
It is. We do. What we've done is, I think Martin is traditionally people have done exactly the same as yourself, is have the thin film, then a black sheet, and then a cover. So what we've developed is the cover does the job for the black sheet and protection. So it has, generally why you use the black sheet is to stop the UV degradation into the plastic, because the thin top film hasn't any UV capabilities. So the sunlight will damage the plastic. So what we've done is basically have the cover is UV protection. So you can't see through it at all. There's no sunlight comes through it. So it covers the orange cling film, and you don't need the black plastic underneath it. Now we do have a farm we work with directly in Denmark actually, and he's used that on his corn over the winter. He's very pleased, and he's just ordered some more. We do a lot of farms, particularly the big ones in America tend to use that system because they do a one crop, so they don't need to take it on and off. So they do the orange and then this cover on the top, and it's very strong. We had some very good pictures back from Spain last week of a man walking across with his big boots on, pulling the cover over, and there was no splits, no tears, no problems with the film at all. You could walk over it very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we are also a little bit experienced with black and white plastic, we say, but we have not opened the silo with the white plastic. Or we can, they say, you can keep the temperature better out of the sunlight, better out. But I don't know. But there's another kind of discussion, with your product.
I think where we live, we don't have too many problems with that heat, do we? I think down in, in Africa and Australia, there is a lot of, in Texas, they do cover with the white black and white sheet to keep the sun off. But our customers in Spain, where it's been hot last year, you know, they had really good success with just the orange film and these covers on the top. You know, even in the heat there, they've had no problems at all. It's worked very well.
Okay.
There's actually a question from Murray, which is related to this. His son is farming in Brazil and is using the Silostop product, but they haven't used it yet in New Zealand. Can you, Tim, can you comment on the expected difference between the tropics and the temperate climates?
That we have, as for those pictures we showed, both systems have worked very well, right from Iceland down through the Americas and Europe down into Brazil. One of our team, he's got a farmer in Brazil, that's how he came about, and he sells a lot of the thin orange film with these covers in Brazil. And the same in Iceland last year, the first time we had some of there, they use the, because of the wind there, they use the 80 micron thicker sheet with the covers on the top, because they felt they needed something a bit more robust because of the wind. So, you know, there are options for the environmental impact of where the farm is.
And there's also a comment on this from Hank. He says, we have used both a thin layer of plastic, other brands and Silostop. The big difference I saw was Silostop sucks itself tight to the silage, making it easier to apply versus the other brands, which were hard to work with in the wind.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. I think some of the videos you've put on to LinkedIn and other social media have shown that really well, Yvonne, this week. I think there's some really good, if people haven't seen it, you know, have a look at those. Yeah, there's some really good images of large bunkers being covered, and you can see the cling of the film on there. Really good.
And maybe can Hank, I'm wondering, is Hank using black plastic as well? The thin, that was common in the Netherlands 10, 20 years ago, the thin one, and then the black one. I'm curious about what Hank is using. Just a thin one and a net, or as a conventional plastic as a second layer. Maybe he can give feedback on that. But I have the same curiosity like Martijn. I've seen movies and on YouTube and from the US. They have the thin orange Silostop, huge silos, and just a net. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a real.
It makes me a bit nervous.
Yeah, I think it's a real leap of faith. I absolutely agree, and I think you all said that, you know, it's an expensive job to grow that crop, put it in, and that is key to feed your cows over the next 12 months. So to take, you know, a leap of faith to go to a thin orange film and a cover, you know, we do completely understand why people are hesitant, and a lot of people do still use a black and white sheet on the top just because they're concerned. But I think, you know, a lot of people are showing they have run with just the orange film and a net, and it is working well.
So you said you have different. You have the orange is the most thinner, the thinner one.
Yeah.
And then you have 55 and 75 and but,
the max, the
80. They have all the same effect.
They do. They all stop the oxygen entering the top of the bunker. That's the ultimate.
And why do you make also the black ones? If the orange
the black one has some anti-UV quality. So, you know, our customer who you've been to see, he likes to sell it with a cover that doesn't have the UV capabilities that we use on the orange. So it's the same system. It's a thin film that clings down, but because it's got UV capabilities in it, it doesn't need the expensive net on the top. So it works in the same way, just slightly different. And the the 80 micron max is used on a lot of farms where they use 5 or 6 or 7 cuts over the summer months, and they keep taking it off and putting it on and taking it off. It's a lot thicker and more robust, and most of the UK and French market use that system. But it still clings down.
I have another question. The film what Martijn is used, the thin one. And it's another a commercial party, another company, and so on, and there's another brand, and so on and so on. But it's another procedure than your product. You 100% agree, or it could be the same?
Yeah, I think what he's doing is he's having to put on 3 layers, isn't he? He's putting on the cling film, whether it be whatever it is, and then a black and white, and then the cover net on the top. So yeah, it is.
No, but I mean the product. Is it? You can compare it, or you said?
We can. Yeah, we can. Yeah, it's all about the. Well, there's 2 things at it. It's the oxygen transmission rate, which I mentioned, and that measures how much air passes through the sheet. And there are variations in the market. Most of them are very good. But also it's the flexibility of the films. And most of them, again, because they're thin, they're very similar made, they do cling very well. But there are some that aren't as flexible because they've used more of the EVOH. So you have a very good oxygen barrier, but because of that, they're not as flexible. I think ours is trying to get the balance where we have that flexibility to eliminate all the pockets of air, but still have as much resistance to oxygen transfer as we can. So I think we could go higher on the EVOH and have almost 0 oxygen, but it wouldn't be flexible. It wouldn't do the job. So we have to have the balance of the 2 elements really. So I think there are some good products out there without doubt, and they did different brand names, but the key for all of them, keep the oxygen out. That's our story.
I think Henk also answered your question, Ad, what he's using. So he says Silostop and a layer of the regular plastic is what we are using. And he mentions, I would like to use an extra covering like Nicosil nets or something, but those are hard to work with in our Canadian winters with a layer of snow on the piles. And then before we comment on this, Andrew also has a question. We have used thick black and orange Silostop, pleased with result. There was a debate, orange side up or black.
Orange or black, both do a good job. I think there's just a preference of the farm really between the orange and black thin ones we have. Depends on our customers selling it into, like the one that Ad's talking to, he likes the black version, but probably most of the world like the orange version. So there's not much difference between them.
It's it's nice to hear the feedback of Henk, and it's not patented. Your product. No, there are patented. No, it's the.
A patent? No.
Sorry.
It isn't. No, and I think that Hank said, I think that's true. We see that in some countries where they struggle with the protective covers and nets because of the weather, the snow and the frost and the ice. So they do go for a layer of plastic instead. So they have the Silostop to do its job on the crop, but the covering layer, because of the maybe extremes of where they are, they just really want to have the security of a thick plastic sheet on the top. Which, I understand. Yeah, again, it's going back to risk, isn't it?
I have another question. I mentioned in my foreword, I thought no innovations in plastic and covering. It's all plastic. It's all the same. But what do you think in the coming years, coming 10 years? Are more innovations coming, or?
Yeah, we have. We currently have just received a shipment of a new technology in our warehouse this week, so we are getting some trials of that done. And for us, the ultimate aim is to have a non-plastic film. We are working with a couple of different businesses that's the ultimate aim, to be fully sustainable, whether it be organic or but that's where we want to be. a non-plastic version. Yeah, I think that's
this your products are fully recyclable.
They are, yes, because the crucial piece is the EVOH, which I mentioned. Because that's under 5%, that means that all of our films can go in the standard recycling system, the same as any black and white sheets. So they are all recyclable. Yeah. And we are working with as many of the recycling businesses. We're just in touch with a couple this week in the UK to try and to ensure that they understand that and there's no problems at all.
And the plastic, it's still working. When we make grass silo, we want to try to put 3 cuts of grass on each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we have to open the silo two times. Can we still use the same plastic, or is it one time using?
Yes, yeah. As long as you're, I think the key is on the thin is just being careful, taking it off and putting it back on, which is why we see in the UK, they perhaps maybe use the 80 micron is a bit thicker, a bit more stronger to do that. But yeah, absolutely. Take it off and put it back on. It will do a good job. Yeah.
We have one more round of questions, maybe because Ad, I understand you know Jan.
Yes, I know Jan. Yeah.
Okay.
Jan is not on board, or?
I'm not sure.
Jan is a very good dairy farmer in Germany. Used to work for Schaumann, and now he's farming for I think with robots. I'm not sure, but Jan is a very nice guy, but
not going live yet.
Okay, we have an awful lot of German farms using the system. Actually, we've got another shipment of 500,000 square meters ordered from them today to move across in the next couple of weeks. So that's a lot of crop to cover. There's a lot of farms in Germany.
Okay, let me see. Jan says he can't start his camera. Maybe now. No. Today is the day of the technical wonders. But Jan, are you able to turn on your microphone? Oh. No, computer problems. But thank you anyway, Jan, for wanting to go live. Martijn, do you have a final question or comment?
It's interesting. I will think about it, but I'm still curious about it. To only put a small plastic on.
Me too. Yeah.
Maybe we have to try it, but but still. How can I say it? I can see, papers the value of the crop, because the cows have to buy the feed from the fields.
Yeah.
That way, so visible the value of the crops, and
yeah.
Then you take extra care about it.
I think it's great that Ad's going to have it himself, so that gives you all a chance over the next coming months to. We're going to try to get to Ad's place and take some pictures and share it with the group to see how he's getting on with it. I Yeah, it'd be really good feedback for everybody.
Yeah.
We look forward to that.
Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. Then I think we're coming to an end right now. And Tim and Martijn and Jan, of course, thank you very much for asking the questions, and for all the participants asking the questions and their comments. Yeah, if you have any more questions, let us know. I'm certain that Tim is eager to answer them.
I am very, really intrigued. Yeah.
Yeah, very good questions and very practical. We already get some nice feedback. Yeah, so let me start sharing the screen. See if it works this time. I guess it does. What I would like to ask everyone is to raise their hand for Tim and also for Mercedes.
Mercedes too.
Yeah, because they made this wonderful presentation and it's such a great job and because it's about this product, it's so informative. Thank you very much, Tim. Wonderful.
That was a pleasure. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to one day when we can all see each other on a farm maybe and have a look for ourselves. That'd be great.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
Plenty of questions. Yeah, please feel free to ask as many as you want. Be good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Well, then, yeah, we're almost at the end of this webinar. And I would like to give the word to Up now, who will tell you a little bit about the upcoming other webinars and online events we have in store for you, because things are still going to be online. Yeah, and from my side also, thank you and see you soon. Ad, the floor is yours.
Yes, about our upcoming webinar. It's organized together with Lely. The title, Direct from Cow to Consumer, More Than a Niche. It's about a mini on-farm dairy processor called the Lely Orbiter. Right now there are 3 or 4 operational in the Netherlands. It's very interesting topic. Maybe for some of you, a new tool to valorize your milk. So join our next webinar. I would like to thank everybody for attending this webinar. What else we are organizing the coming months? As GDF, we try to organize an online congress in August with the title 2021 Good Farmers, 2031 Great Farmers. It will be a 24-hour event covering the whole world and all the time zones. We will do this in full cooperation with our business partner. We are preparing now the event, and our farmers will play a large role in this event. We want to organize short professional movies of many of our farmers where they show the farm, and they will show it will give a short impression of their proud businesses. We don't have fully commitment of all our business partners yet, but I'm positive, so let's hope it will go on. Pay attention to our website and follow GDF on social media, so then you will be kept informed of all our events. If there are any questions, ideas, feedback, please contact us. Coming to the end, let's stay in touch. Thanks again. Take care, stay healthy, and hopefully we'll meet again at one of our next events. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.